Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. Today we are reviewing another Schleich 2018 figure, and it is this guy. This is the Schleich Tawa. Now this is definitely another one of the smaller figures when it comes to Schleich's 2018 lineup. Definitely a small figure, although he's actually, I think, a little bigger than their Psittacosaurus. So he's not the smallest. I believe the smallest would probably be the Psittacosaurus or maybe the Dinogorgon. I'm not really sure. But this guy is definitely still small. He's very scrawny, very skinny, but overall I think he looks very good, aside from his oversized feet, which I assume he probably just has for stability issues, because being such a small, skinny little figure, I'm sure it's kind of hard to balance him out. But he actually does stand pretty good for being so small and skinny, so that's a plus. And I guess the oversized feet definitely came in handy for that issue. But either way, I think he looks pretty good. He's not my favorite figure in the world, but definitely not bad. So let's take a closer look at him. Starting up here at the head, you can see that he's got some pretty good detail. Nothing overly dramatic. He doesn't look super highly detailed like some of Schleich's figures do, but he still does look pretty good. He's got a pretty realistic color scheme going on, in my opinion. He's almost got like a tannish type of a face that leads to a darker brown on the back. And that's pretty much the majority of the color of this is the darker brown, but he also has a little bit of an orange feathering type deal on the back of his head and the back of his tail. So he's got a little bit as far as different coloration goes. His underside is also a very light color, so again, it changes there as well. But overall, the face looks pretty good. He's got some very nicely done detail. The teeth aren't really that great, in my opinion. They're kind of all just meshed together. The other side here of the face kind of looks a little better than the one side. His right side looks a little better than the left, but still overall the teeth kind of look a little iffy because they're so smushed together. But in a figure that's as small as this, you can't really expect too much. The inside of the mouth it looks pretty good, nothing overly spectacular, but unfortunately they gave it just a red tongue, and I'm not a big fan of that because honestly, it probably wouldn't have had a red tongue, but you know, who am I to tell you that? I don't know for sure, but I just feel like maybe a more realistic color scheme to the inside of the mouth could have been better, but again, overall, it doesn't look terrible. Mine came with quite a few chips of paint off of it for some reason. You can see a little chip of paint off of his snout here, by his nose, one a little bit over his eye there, and some more here on his side of his stomach, some on his tail. It's actually kind of beat up, and I don't know why, because I purchased him brand new, but sometimes I guess that just happens. It's something that I could probably just touch up myself, even though I don't really like doing that, but I guess in this instance I probably will have to. Looking down here at the neck, you can see some more nicely done detail. The feathering on the back of the neck looks pretty good, but it's kind of sloppily painted, honestly. It's the paint has gone from being just on the feathers and is now slopped down onto the skin. But it's not that big of a deal. If you look at it from a little further away, you probably won't really notice it. Something that you'll really only notice up close, but they could have definitely done a better job on that as far as the paint goes, but the actual sculpting of the feathers does look pretty good. Going down here onto the arms, you can see the arms are sculpted beautifully, and all the details surrounding the arms, actually, like up here into the shoulder and everything, it looks really good. The actual sculpt work of the body looks beautiful. Here in the stomach region, there is just some very nice scales that are sculpted out, along with some beautiful skin folds, definitely leading down here into the lower part of the stomach area. So the overall sculpting of this dinosaur here in the midsection looks very nice. It looks beautiful. But anyway, going back to the arms here, you can see some very nice skinny, long, scrawny arms. They look pretty good. The claws are not really like sharp looking at all, but then again, it's also a toy, so I'm sure they're not going to make it so that children can slit each other's throats with them. Looks pretty good, just a pure black color for the claws. Not too much in the shading department or different tones in the arms, but it does look pretty good the way it is. As you can see, looking here all over the place and pretty much on the underside is really noticeable. You can see that they gave it a nice wash, which, as Schleich usually does, brings them to life, in my opinion. It really helps them to look more realistic, way more realistic than they would be if they did not have that type of a wash. So again, Schleich adding that is always a great touch. Looking back here at the leg, you can see again very skinny but very beautifully sculpted. A little bit of skin folds here in the top of the hip area, and this calf muscle is very large actually. He's really been running a lot, as I'm sure a small dinosaur like this would, and they did pay attention to that little detail there, and they put the calf muscle to be quite large, and it looks very good, really it does. It's sculpted beautifully, and definitely something that it probably would have had, since like I said, it's a smaller dinosaur. It'd probably be running a lot, pretty much running for his life. I told you before that the feet are pretty big. They are much larger than they should have. He almost has clown feet, but they don't look bad, I guess. I mean, they're sculpted nicely. They're just larger than they should be. But it's probably, like I said, just to make sure that the dinosaur stands, as odds are, being so skinny and scrawny, it wouldn't stand without those feet being larger, unless they had given it a base, and Schleich has not ever done that to my knowledge. So you're kind of stuck with the larger feet. Looking at the tail again, beautiful, beautiful sculpt work. It really looks nice. Beautiful cracks and crevices here running down along the tail. It makes it look very, very good, very realistic. And then you get to the back here with these little feathers. Again, the paint has been applied quite sloppily on mine. I don't know why I got the shaft as far as the paint goes. It's just kind of all over the place on it. But the actual sculpt work of the feathers looks very good. So if you do order this guy, you may not get one that's as sloppily painted as mine. This is the type of figure that I feel like could look really, really cool if given a good repaint, because they haven't really done too much as far as the paint goes on this guy. He's kind of just a blah color, and I feel like that maybe a more striking coloration would really make this thing look awesome. Looking at the other side of the head, again, this the detail on this side is pretty much the same as the other side, but it does look very, very good. I really do like the sculpting of the head. The head looks beautiful, and it looks very nice. The eyes are just an orange color, and they are painted pretty well. They look good. Going down here on the neck, again, you can see the beautiful detail running the whole way down, and then again, the nice long arms here on the Tawa. Beautiful little scrawny arms, and beautiful sculpt work all over the body. I can't say that enough. This whole little midsection and stomach area up here into the back, it is just beautifully sculpted. Absolutely awesome. It looks so realistic, so super nice. And again, even down here onto the leg, you can see that there are different sized scales all over the place, so it really is nicely done. The sculpting of this dinosaur was fantastic. As far as the minor little tiny details that you actually have to get pretty close just to see, they did not skimp out on it at all. And again, nice big calf muscle like they had on the other side, and then going back to the leg here, beautiful little skin folds here, beautiful sculpt work the whole way out. So overall, the sculpt work on this guy is fantastic, it really is, and the underside looks beautiful as well. So great job as far as the sculpting goes. Just there's a few little minor things like the sloppiness of the paint, and maybe the inside of the mouth, and the fact that mine came with so many paint chips on it. I don't know why. That make this probably not my favorite figure of the 2018 lineup, but it's definitely not the worst. So Schleich did do a pretty good job on this Tawa, and again, it's probably one of the better figures that they've released this year. It's definitely something that I feel like is closer to the way the dinosaur would have actually looked than a lot of their figures are, but it's still not my favorite. I'm not really sure which one I would say my favorite would be. Maybe the Triceratops or the Psittacosaurus. That's a tough call, but this guy is definitely still really, really nice looking. His overall size, as I said, he's pretty small. So you're looking at about 6 inches long. Height-wise, he's under 3 inches, so he's not, like I said, too big, but he's not super tiny. A good size, but for being such a small, scrawny little dinosaur, you can't expect too much in the way of size. For a size comparison, I will bring in Mr. Papo T-Rex, and you can get an idea of just, oh, I knocked him over, of just how big these guys are next to each other. There you go. Can't really see Mr. Rex's head, but you can get a good idea, as I said, of just how big they are together. So most people usually have the Papo T-Rex, so odds are if you do, then you'll have an idea of just how big this little Tawa is compared to him. But in my opinion, he is definitely nice and equals Papo as far as the detail department goes. In my personal opinion, Schleich does a fantastic job on the detail and the minor little scales that they put into it and just different little things of the sculpts. I think Schleich does a great job on that. So this dinosaur is definitely a prime example of that. The little tiny little details all over the body just look phenomenal on this, and overall it really is nice looking. It really, really is. I just wish mine hadn't come with so many paint chips on it. And then again, the teeth are kind of sloppy, and the tongue also isn't that great because of the pure bright reddish color. Could have been more realistic when it comes to the color. And he also does have big clown feet, but again, that's a standing issue because I'd rather him, I guess, have a little bit bigger feet and stand than not at all. Although they could have just made him with a base like Collect A does, and that would have made me happy. But I guess it's tough for kids to play with a dinosaur on a base, so they probably wanted him to stand on his own without any type of a base. So, you know, that's fine, I guess. Bigger feet are better than him not standing at all. So definitely a good addition to any Schleich collection. Great job done by Schleich on their Tawa. If I were to rate this guy on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably give him like a 7 out of 10, I think. Yeah, like a 7 out of 10. Somewhere in that range, just because of the few minor issues and because of the bigger sized clown feet. But overall, like I said, he's not bad at all. He's pretty good. So definitely something that you could pick up if you are interested in this dinosaur. I would recommend him because he does look really quite nice. So I will link you guys in the description as to where you can purchase this guy. And please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.